Everybody wants to get their business booming locally and globally, and Books to Boom Your Business brings to you authors, speakers, entrepreneurs who have powerful books that will make and keep your business and your personal lives booming. Welcome to the show, Books to Boom Your Business. It is a great day. It is a great day in every way. And I'm your host, Dr. Lotus Riche, with another spectacular episode of Books to Boom Your Business. And I got some spice that's nice for you. You don't have to think twice. But look who's in the house today. You wanted me to tell you? Okay, so I'll say who's in the house today. Today we have a magnificent author. She's also a speaker. Why do I say a speaker? Because she's speaking to you today. Her name is Cornelia Brown. She's an author and she's the founder of Red Rose Conquerors. It's an entrepreneurial empowerment organization, and it's dedicated to promoting love, unity, and acceptance for all shades and flavors of humanity. Let me tell you a little bit about her. She may breken ze Dutch, kleiner, or she may breken ze Dutch a lot. She was born and raised in the picturesque southern Bavarian villages of Bad Tolz. And you know what? She is here today all the way with her heritage, her love of life, sharing how she has been blessed with the experiences that underscore the importance of love, acceptance, and inclusivity. Now, I want you to go ahead, grab your phone, grab your iPad, grab whatever you have and share this out, especially with those in Germany. Together, her and her husband, they built a magnificent, successful real estate business, which spawned her career while raising two incredible, amazing, outstanding daughters and enjoying three remarkable grandchildren. Beyond her literary pursuits, though, Cornelia supports and hosts Loving Day events and brings awareness for interracial couples in the United States. Isn't that amazing? Yes, because we already know, if you look years ago, historically, interracial relations were tough, but somehow she's persevered. Somehow she's been able to share her strength, her love in the gift of what God gave her. And that's just being able to love people for who they are, not just for the color of their skin, but for what's within. So with no further ado, I want you to go ahead and share this information out, because I could talk about her all day until next Christmas. But I want you to hear from her. So share this out. Share it with your friends. Share it with everyone you go. No, everyone you go. No, because it's time to let's go. Because the next voice you're going to hear is none other than Miss Cornelia Brown. Be right back.
Please welcome author and the founder of Red Rose Conquerors, Miss Cornelia Brown.
Hello, welcome to the show.
Hello. You have me crying already.
Well, my pleasure. It's great to see you. Welcome back from your travels. I know you had a sensational time. Hope you're doing well. It's so great to have you in the studio with me today to unpack your amazing book. And I know many of the people all around the world know about the 7 books. I think you've got 7 books that you author. Yet some people are still getting to know you. So I'd like you to tell us a bit more about who the wonderful Cornelia Brown is and where you at right now, because I'm loving your environment right now.
I am actually in our in-law suite where I took care of my father for 15 years and brought him over from Germany. In his last days, he was on a cancer journey, and I promised him that when it is time for him to transition, that I will
Yes.
be right there with him. So I am right in here in Little Bavaria in my house.
All right. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So she's at home. And so listen, folks, I want y'all to get very comfortable. Come on, take your jackets off. Take your jackets off. You can leave your hats on or take them off if you want to. And why I'm taking my jacket off is because it's about to get hot in here. Because we're about to talk about some amazing things. One about her book, but some of the experiences she had throughout her life, but also writing the book. Okay. And we want you all, if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat and we'll get to your questions as quickly as possible. So, with no further ado, you're going to be hearing some amazing things today on our amazing show, Books to Boom Your Business. So, with no further ado, let's get right into it. You have an incredible book out right now. And we want to unpack that book. And so, with sharing that, I'd like for you to go ahead and hold that book up and let you share the title of the book. All right. And let's talk. Let's get right into it. So, and I know before we get started, I know many of you saying, Dr. Lotus, I want to buy her book. I want to buy. Hold on, we're gonna put it up on the screen so you can buy her book. We know you want to get it because we always bring great authors to the show. So with that being said, let's talk about Edelweiss. Now, you have a couple other books, but we're going to unpack this one today. So with that said, I'd like you to tell us, how did you come to the name of the book?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you so much for having me. I don't take that lightly. What a blessing. Yes, the title of the book is so funny. I get inspired when my husband is locked in the car with me as we are traveling. We are cruisers, so we traveling from cruise port to cruise port, and
Yes.
I just watch Sound of Music. And I used to sing the song with my dad, Edelweiss. So I said
Yes.
to my husband, "Oh, you know what? I just love Edelweiss. Am I not your Edelweiss?" And he looks at me because he's an old soldier and he always likes to crack very dry jokes and mess with me. So he looks at me and he said, "Edelweiss, what is that?" So that inspired me to begin. I always wanted to write a short story book because a lot of times people are so busy they don't have time to just dig into a 300-page book. So I was like, what if I just write it in short stories? And Edelweiss, if you guys look it up, that is a flower that grows in the rocky areas in the mountains, in the Alps, so in Switzerland and in Austria. And I'm right on the Austrian border. So I am kind of Bavarian German, but we almost Austrians. And that Edelweiss can make it in the smallest tiny spot in the mountains and survive there. But the Edelweiss also has its own little fur coat and is kind of a sassy flower. And so it's like, I'm your Edelweiss. That's how I came up with that.
Wow. You know, there's a song also called Edelweiss. I don't know if anyone ever heard of it or ever seen it before, but when I saw the book, I immediately thought of the song. But for you to ask him, am I your Edelweiss? That's near and dear. It's like you talking about me making you cry. That's a tearjerker. So when I saw that, I thought about the song. I didn't know really about the flower. So thank you for sharing that. But then I looked at Edelweiss and collard greens. I was like, Wow, that's something. How did you come up with the part to add the collard greens to it? Because that's giving it some soul.
Actually, one of the things is I wanted to write another book and I didn't want it to call it another boring interracial couple book, interracial, something. So I wanted to bring some flavor to the whole entire thing. And first of
Yes.
all, going back real quick to Edelweiss, it is the flower that during the war times, they used a
Yes.
lot of they had it as an emblem. So it made
Yes.
it through a
That's
lot of different things. But we have a story when my husband first brought me to the United States. I was a young girl. I was 19 years old when I immigrated to the United States. And my husband, I think in his head, never connected. He married a foreigner. So he brought me my
right.
first Thanksgiving in the United States. He brings me a big, huge green bush. And I was way too proud to explain to everyone that I had no clue what he gave me. So I decided to cook that Edelweiss like a spinach, the ignorant
Uh-huh.
little white girl, what people would call me from the mountains. And but it became such a fun story every Thanksgiving. And
Mm-hmm.
as my mother-in-law taught me, and traditionally that it
Mm-hmm.
was such an important part of the meal. And that's I was
Right.
like, oh, so I'm your Edelweiss. And then Bernard said, well, I guess I'm your collard green. There you
Oh,
go.
wow.
That.
That's awesome. And so for those of you wondering about her husband and how she married him. So her husband is retired Army. So thank you, sir, for your service. We appreciate you. And of course, you all know, many of you know that I'm Navy, go Army. And
Thank you for your
so,
service.
my pleasure. So that's great. I love how you got to the collard greens. That's awesome. So with that shared, you went a step further and you said blending cultures. Now, when I heard the Edelweiss and I heard the collard greens, I thought about nature when you just said it's a flower. And Lotus, I'm a flower. And the Edelweiss grows out there because of God's grace and mercy. And so does the collard greens. And from the earth, the two of you came, blending your cultures and sharing your faith.
Amen.
That blew me away. And you took it a step above because you said I didn't want it to be a boring book of of an interracial couple, a story of unity in diversity. That's powerful. So to our viewers, if that's powerful for you, that hit home for you, that pulled your heartstrings, put a 10 in the comment. Put a 10 in the comment. And I know a lot of you are going to hit the replay. So when you are hitting the replay, I want you to go ahead and also put a 10 in the comment. Okay, so I'm loving that. Hey, Mr. Maurice, and don't forget, everybody, let us know where you're streaming in from. Let us know where you're streaming in from. I see Miss Bradford; she's in the house. We got DMV in the house. The District of Columbia is in the house. We've got Ghana is in the house. Always great to see Ghana in the house. We got Family Network in the house. Hey there. Hey, I'm excited to watch this discussion. We're excited to have you. Let us know where you're coming in from, Jay. We got the Philippines in the house. Great to see you. All right, people saying, I'm looking for this book. I promise you, I'm going to put the book up for you, okay, so you can see it. People are like, no, we want to see the book now. Okay, we're going to get it to you. I love the title of the book. Yes, I'm immediately remember the word as the song from The Sound of Music, Edelweiss. How funny. Yes, funny. I'm a veteran too. All right, go Navy, go Army. So the lyrics of Edelweiss, we've got that right there. So we're going to have that. Hey, Vivian Clark, another show host. Make sure you bring her on your show, Vivian. Vivian's got her 10, and so many others. And so I know a lot of you are streaming in messages. We're on multiple broadcast stations. So if I don't get to pop you up, take it for love, because we have so many people streaming in. So please, again, let us know where you're coming from. So we're going to delve right into this book. She's got the book on hand, and I just might be able to get her to read a small piece. And so with that being said, we want to go into what y'all want me to read, get her to read a small piece here. All right. So with that being shared, I had a couple of questions, because when I looked at the book, I got online, I looked at the book, I looked at what it said, and you were so kind to send us some items. And as I got in the book, it did come to mind, what inspired you to write this book? And you've shared that meeting your husband, blending the cultures, you already had the meat of it. But during the time when you met him, it was a critical time in the history of this nation, but also globally, when we talk about interracial relationships. And we know that because of what was happening in this country, there was something called the Loving Day. And I didn't know what Loving Day was. I like to be very transparent. I had a conversation with Lawana Bradford, and she talked to me about the Loving Day. And for some of you that don't know what the Loving Day is, if you know what Loving Day is, I want you to put a 20 in the chat. Put a 20 in the chat if you know what Loving Day is, okay? Because this is something that she shares with us. And so I want you guys to be a part of it. I want you to understand it. So Loving Day, according to Wikipedia and according to what she shared with us, it's a celebration held on June 12th. It's the anniversary of the 1967 United States Supreme Court decision, Loving versus Virginia. And that struck down all anti-interracial laws remaining in the 16 U.S. states. Because if you married someone who was of a different culture, like white people couldn't marry black people, if you did, you were placed in jail. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted you all to see this, because this isn't something she just made up or nothing like that. This is really happening, or this has happened. So during that time, how did you work through that? Because you loved who you loved because who he was and who he is. So how did you have the courage to come through that?
It is so interesting. It brings me back to when I was standing, and I just visited. My husband is from Tuskegee, Alabama. I just visited Butler Chapel, which is on the Civil Rights Trail. And I stood exactly in that spot where I got married. Wow. I barely spoke English when I came over, even though we learned Oxford English, but I didn't understand Alabama English.
Two different things.
So I was so ignorant to its civil rights.
Yes.
I was so ignorant towards the anger our love would evoke in people. Yes. I didn't go out that day. I met him in Germany, right in my hometown. There was a school, a military academy, and he was there, and we met. And literally, we both got swooped up in a godly assignment, I call it now. Wow. We got swooped up in an assignment. I was 17 when I met this knucklehead. And I tell you, we went back and forth. First, I encountered people in my hometown who were very shocked. I was the granddaughter of a very, very well-known businesswoman in Bavaria. And all of our life, our whole life was about impressing others. And they literally already had picked who I was going to marry one day as the only granddaughter. And, and my husband was not in the picture anywhere. So was very shocking how some people responded there. The whole time as I encountered all of these hardships with people, my ignorant self was saying, let me get to America. They
Yes.
all gonna love us. We're gonna be embraced. Let me just get there. And my husband called me, proposed, and shipped me to Fort Polk, Louisiana.
What?
Okay. So my first encounter, the first week was that first of all, we had to stay in a trailer park type of situation before we were able to get on post. We were waiting on post housing, military
Yes.
housing,
Yes.
and they put all the black families in one area, the white families in another area, and then all the mixed ones from all,
Yes.
Korean and white
Yes.
and wherever we all came from. And all of a sudden, one day, my husband came and just told me, "You need to stay in the house. Don't come out."
Oh,
And I'm like,
wow.
"What's going on?" He said, "They're burning a cross." Now, as ignorant as am at that point in time, I grew up Catholic. So Catholics always burning something. I'm thinking we have a religious celebration. And my husband was like, "You need to stay in.
Yes.
They are going to hang us on the next tree if you come out."
Mm-hmm.
That
Mm-hmm.
fear,
Wow.
that moment of realizing America, United States, was nowhere near
Mm-hmm.
acceptance of our marriage,
Yes.
our relationship. We got married in Tuskegee, Alabama, in Butler Chapel, September 5th. We're going to be traveling again for September 5th. 1979, 12 years after
Wow.
Mr. and Mrs. Loving made the
Mhm.
change for all of us. I didn't know that. I had no idea. So I got a fast track civil rights education. My husband packed me up, took me to his mother. And
Mm-hmm.
so I can stay there to be safe, not to get killed.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother-in-law, Mama Carrie Bale Brown, could have had animosity towards me, could have
Yep.
said, "What are you bringing her here for?" Embraced me, taught me. Oh, I'm going to need tissue. I love that woman so much, the whole entire Brown family, because I didn't realize then how different they could have felt about me. But they
Yes.
taught me and shared with me. And my message in my heart, it imprinted. And I was like, once I begin to have some sort of understanding what is happening, God gave me a big mouth. I'm not shy at all. And I'm going to share with humanity and make a difference if I can.
Wow. Wow. And that really takes us into the next question that I had for you was what you hope to achieve with this book. And it sounds like you want to take your message and you're taking your message to the world to
For sure.
improve the life condition of
For sure.
people who are
Yes.
struggling. Right. And also, here's something that came to my mind too, because when we talked backstage, we talked a little bit about how you sharing your message is helping to free people so that they know that they're not alone. Because when you came over here, you could have considered yourself very alone, but luckily you had a family that was accepting of you and that sheltered you somewhat from the rain. So,
Absolutely.
what would you say to people who are going through issues, being married to someone else from another culture? Because this really isn't about Black or white or German or American. It's about people, loving people just for who they are, but they just happen to be of a different culture, and people still are being faced with bigotry. So what would you say to those folks? And I'm gonna spotlight you so that people can see you up close and personal.
Well, here's the thing. First of all, what I realized, I did not learn any African American history growing up. I knew nothing. So I made grave mistakes even when I was talking, even when I was interacting with people. And I began to really get hurt by people lashing out at me. If I would
Right.
not have had my family, my brown family, this is literally embracing me and teaching me and allowing me to learn, our marriage may not have made it. And that's what's happening to so many people out there. I want to encourage you, first of all of our history is all of our history. It gets to me, I don't know how you guys feel, but it gets too isolated. This is African American history, this is German history, this is blah blah history, and then we study that, and then we miss out what we ought to know. What is my
Yes.
responsibility to know? I took that very, very seriously. First of all, I knew, I was told in Germany, if you have to marry him, at least don't have any children. They will never make it. They will never know who they are. They will always be called bad names by people.
Wow.
So I was determined to get to understand what has happened to the African American community. I was told when I was looking for friends in Fort Polk, Louisiana, and I was trying to reach out to African American women, and I was told, oh, wait a minute, just because you're married to a black man, that don't mean you are a friend. And when you just said you must have felt very alone.
Yes.
I got so nervous being around African American women that I was too afraid to even attempt to make friends, because I just felt like a horrible human being. We all are just, I'm born like this, and they did all of this, and we want to acknowledge that. But I can't take off how God created me either. And so it put me in a very, very depressed state. And then I held my little girls so close to me, I didn't let anyone at them. Now, this is one thing, Bavarian girls, like a lot of people have that stigma, black men marry white women because they don't fight back. They never met me. So anyway, I was protecting my girls because I didn't want them to get hurt, not by me and my husband, but by society around. And I'm speaking to, when I'm out there speaking to people, it's like, yes, you may be all nice and friendly to me here, but what do you say at home? What do you say at home? When you watch this show?
Yes.
What do you say at the dinner table? And your children hearing that, going to school, and then it's coming back out into the children that are, there's so many blended marriages and families out there. And then we, again, that is my mission. This is my godly assignment, to speak up and speak out and make a difference where I can.
Yeah, and I love that you shared that. And we have someone on the show that's watching us. I want to go up to her because she teaches people how to love. And she's Erin Page. Erin Page is joining in from Florida. Thank you, Erin, for being here. She teaches people how to love from a heartful place. And I like the question you pose. What are you doing at home? You can say whatever you want when you see me out in public, but what are you doing at home? What are you teaching your children? What are you embracing? And so I want to say, you got to come from a heartful place, a loving place, like Aaron Page teaches. So thank you, Aaron, for being here on the show, because that's really critical. And I see Vivian Clark, she's here. I think Vivian's coming in from, I want to say Atlanta. I think Vivian's coming from. So thank you, Vivian Clark, for being here on the show. Please share this out with your folks. And if you are enjoying the show so far, go ahead and put a 30 in the comment. We see people streaming in. This is Living History Speaking. This is Living History Speaking, Ms. Bradford said. So let's speak to that. Let's speak to that, because we have people today, they're saying, let's do away with history in the history books. Let's not talk about the Buffalo Soldiers, who, by the way, Miss Bradford's father was a Buffalo Soldier, by the way, and we congratulate him and congratulate Miss Bradford of recently being inducted into the Buffalo Soldier on behalf of her father. So congratulations to you, Miss Bradford, for all that you're doing in that realm as well. Thank you so much. Talk about that. Let's unpack that, if you will. Because at the end of the day, you were hurt. At the end of the day, you did feel alone. And a lot of times in the Black community, you couldn't go to the Black women because Black women were dealing with something all their own. They were being prosecuted here in the United States. They were being ran down in the streets. Dogs were being sicked on them. Water was being sprayed on them by our politicians, by our police force and all that. But still, you decided that you were going to step up and protect your babies. And you were a part of that history, helping to bring about change, because you decided to say, hey, I'm going to stand up, when your husband was still saying, no, baby, we gotta be careful. So what does that mean when you hear Miss Lawana say history?
Well, first of all, anytime Lavana says anything, I'm mesmerized. Because this is a deep well, an incredible woman of God, and has so many experiences. And we have great conversations. What I love is when I can talk freely, and and we actually were speaking about, how is the relationship between an African American woman and what people call white. I'm not just a color, guys. I actually tan very nicely, but anyway. But when people call me white, the reason I don't like it, because I need to know, what does white mean to you? Because when people say white, they talking about what
this white, right?
Done. Yes, because my heart want to know. And we are sharing one another, and I read all the horrific things that have happened to African American women. And also, when we were driving through the South during that times in the 70s, okay, let me tell you,
yes,
I was shocked when my husband said, okay, we're going to go through certain towns.
yes,
and in those towns, Black men were hung on the next street just for looking at a white woman, for a white woman lying about whatever. I didn't know that then. Like I said, I had no clue. But he would tell me, you need to hide underneath the dashboard. So I had to crawl underneath to make it through. And then he would say, okay, this seems to be safe. And in Edelweiss and Collard Greens, when we, you get some scars from that.
Yes.
Because when we go and stay in a hotel, when we in an area that my husband doesn't know, and soldiers are always in protection mode.
Yes.
And we not quite sure what the community is like. He said, you know what? We are so sleepy and tired, and we've been turned down twice. You go in this time. Don't let them see me.
Yes.
That,
Yes.
I, even to this day, I'm just like, people, are we still at this place? And yes, there are people that still now, if they do a poll, should interracial marriage be illegal?
Mhm.
And guys, back then when Mr. and Mrs. Loving were jailed and put into prison, they were charged not for a misdemeanor, mind you, for a
Mhm. Mhm.
felony. Okay, for a
Yes.
felony, and they had to
Mhm.
leave their home, and they were exiled for being married. And so that leaves a concern when we travel. And this is why, let me tell you, and you didn't even ask me about that, but I'm just back to, I can't wait to get on the next cruise. The reason we love to cruise,
Mhm.
let me tell you why. Because when we arrive on the
Yes.
cruise ship, the whole world is like on the cruise ship. And there are so many blended couples that we are nothing special, nothing
Mhm.
spectacular. Every language that you want to hear,
Right.
you hear, every hue, and we can really vacation without
Yeah.
having to think about it. When we go to a city, a specific city and area, and vacation and show up in certain areas because we
Mhm.
like nice things, we like nice things, then we have to check what and only if
Mhm.
you are in that type of relationship you realize when people
Right.
have an issue with it, just like an African American person
Mhm.
knows when they're encountering
Right.
prejudice. The person may never say
Mhm.
anything, but their actions are
Yes.
showing. So it's
Hello.
interesting.
Yep. And I like that. I like that you share that. And now some of you may be saying, okay, Dr. Lotus, I don't know about the Lovings. So let me tell you a bit more about the Lovings. Mildred and Richard Loving, they were an interracial couple who played a pivotal role in the landmark Supreme Court case Loving versus Virginia in 1967. Okay. Due to the Racial Integrity Act of 1924, it prohibited people of different races to marry. Okay. So the Lovings, they ended up moving to DC, Washington, DC, right here near where I'm at, where they could legally marry. But as she shared earlier, they were arrested and charged with violating the law. And their case brought a significant legal battle, and it changed the laws. It changed how society began to view and treat, and were legally able to treat and or discriminate, because we know there are laws in place, but there's still discrimination, and oftentimes people turn a blind eye to it. So with that, I wanted you to see this information right here. It's kind of might cover our face just a little bit. There we go. And these are the things that these people had to endure. And when you speak, Cornelia, you speak of a time where you had to be frightened. You had to be not frightened just for yourself and your husband, but for your children once you had children. And what I heard you say was that your husband would say, "Get down, hide. No, you go in this time. I went in. Don't let them know I'm here. Just we'll act like I'm not here. I have to be invisible." So
Mhm.
how did that feel for you to have to be invisible? And then how did it feel for the man that you loved and love to have to be invisible? And let me say why I said loved you all. I want you to understand the context. When I say loved, she began to see this man, not just someone who she loved, but she began to love him from a different perspective. Like, look at all the things that you have to endure, and yet you make a choice to love me anyway. I told you I was going to be hot. That's why I had to take off the jacket, y'all. I had to take it off. So tell us about that.
You know, that's so interesting. First of all, if you hear some background noise, the neighbor kid is learning how to play drums, so I can't change that. So let's just enjoy it. But one of the things that it takes me to, and that's what Edelweiss and Collard Greens is. I share short stories where I begin to realize. We went back to Germany multiple times during our tours, back and forth. Our favorite place, by the way, was Hawaii. But when we went back to Germany, and my family began to feel comfortable, and they knew, okay, so they married now, they have kids, so let's embrace the whole thing. Yes. And we went skiing. That was another moment for me. So I grew up skiing in the Alps. Everybody has to learn to ski, just like walking. That's part of it. So my family said, let's go skiing as a family. And my husband is looking like, what are these people talking about? So that story is in here. And I'm like, okay, well, you never been skiing? And he said, no, but soldiers out there, they want to admit that they may have never. But he said, okay, I'll go. How hard can it be? If you guys can do it, I can do it. Okay, we went up the mountain and he stands up there. And then, he falls his way down the hill. On the bottom of the hill, he said, where is the guest house? And anyone that ever been in Europe, I really, every blue moon, I like to enjoy a glass of spritzer wine with Sprite. That's it. But back then, my husband was like, let me get some Jägermeister in me and take me back up the hill. And then he just went straight down that hill. And we had a conversation after that. And I was like, what in the world? And he said, let me tell you something. And he would always say, let me tell you something, Bavarian girl. Do you think that we were allowed, when I grew up, to ski anywhere? He said, heck, we weren't even allowed to go into a swimming pool. And he began.
Yep, that's true.
And let me tell you, my heart began hurting. First again, once again, of my ignorance, but I took every lesson seriously. It's like God was infusing me. And I'm like, and so I began reading, and then I began seeing. And when he said, we couldn't even go swimming with them.
Yep. And that's true.
Going skiing.
Yep.
So this is infused with stories like that, where I'm learning civil rights, but I'm learning it this way. And he began, he said, you never heard that?
Yeah. And here's something too. I lived across my parents, before they bought their home, we lived in an apartment building, and almost diagonally from where we lived, there was a pool in Passaic, New Jersey. Actually, it was Clifton, because once you cross the street, you were in Clifton, where Black people were not allowed to swim. Now, we could pay our taxes. We could buy property eventually, but we could not swim in pools where often Black dollars made a way for it to be possible. So I can identify with him. My father is from Alabama, so I can identify with that. I can identify with some of the struggles in the South, but also the struggles right here in the United States. And just to imagine that you are serving or have served your country, but you could not choose to marry the person that you love. So I am so happy that your book, among many, you have several books, and we're going to bring you back to talk about your other books. But today, and here's the thing, everybody. If you'd like her to come back and talk about this book more in depth, or do a workshop, let us know so that we can make it happen. Her book, very reasonably priced as you see right here. You can get this book on Amazon. You have to wait. Go right to the book. Grab your copy. Grab it today. It's very reasonably priced. I'm astonished. You can get it on Kindle. It's only $5.99. You can get the hardback copy for $20.99. This book is extraordinary. And so what I've asked, if she would be so inclined to do, is to go ahead and take a moment to read some of the book to you, and so you can get the essence of what's in the book. Now, she's not going to give it all to you. She's going to give you a bit of it. But while she's preparing what she's going to read, I'd like you to go ahead and look right here and grab the link and order your copy. And if you have any questions, put it in the chat. Many of you have made comments. Many of you have family members who are interracial, just like myself. Many of you, I saw a comment from Miss Angie Elting, who is Japanese and brown American, which, you know, Japan has their history with the United States as well. And she is one of the first, she is the first woman of color to be the captain of the rugby team over in Japan. So she identifies, and she talked about how this book and this show is very timely for her. So thank you for joining us. And Miss Vivian is joining us from Texas, correction, because I said Atlanta. So while we're getting ready to hear from our amazing author, Miss Cornelia Brown, if for those of you that's just joining us, go ahead and grab the book. You'll be happy you did. So with no further ado, Cornelia, whenever you're ready, let me know.
Okay, I had to find my glasses because you know I'm a grandma now.
So now she got her glasses, and the grandbabies, hopefully y'all listening. And if you putting this on replay, hello. Let's give her a warm hand as she comes before us with an excerpt from Edelweiss and Collard Greens. Come on, y'all. Put your hands together.
Okay, by the way, the paperback is $9.99. So we were traveling, just to set this up, we were traveling down to the cruise port. And we ended up in a little town trying to find a hotel because we didn't get any reservations. So this little story is called Who Will Go Inside to Ask for Room Availability. We almost hear Bernard announced, his voice a little weary. You go in, sweetheart. I'm just exhausted, and honestly, I don't feel like dealing with any of that foolishness again. Okay, no problem at all, I replied, and of course, I understood exactly what he meant. We encountered prejudice multiple times before when trying to secure a hotel room, often being told there was no availability. It usually happened when we entered the hotel lobby together. Sometimes there might not have been any vacancies for real, but other times it just felt like a racial issue. Judging by the staff's demeanor towards us. To minimize the frustration and the nagging suspicion of possible racism, we developed this strategy. Usually, only one of us, most of the times it would be me, would go inside to handle the reservation and get the key. It really bothered us. And it still does. That we had to resort to such measures just to ensure a good night's rest before embarking on our cruise. Once we were actually on the ship, the entire atmosphere would shift. There were usually so many different cultures represented from all over the world that we no longer attracted any kind of unwanted attention. We usually book our hotels online now and have become quite knowledgeable about which areas on the way to the next ports might not be as welcoming as we would like them to be. We consciously avoid those cities and hotels wherever possible now. Yeah, that's who will go inside and ask for room availability.
Wow. That's something. Get your paperback, folks. Get your paperback today. It's only $9.99. Get your paperback, because this book is going to give you a personal insight from her eyes, even from her husband's eyes, and even her children's eyes, of the real of how she experienced it, how others have experienced it. And so with this, I know you have other books coming out, but I'd like to know, how have your children been able to maneuver? Because you said earlier you really kept them close. How has you coming out empowered them to be secure in who they are and deal with prejudice when it shows up?
One of the things that I began as I grew in the Lord and I gained strength from God's word, first of all, and learned more and more, how to navigate this different world, like the show, a different world. We lived in Hawaii for 6 years. My husband extended twice because it was such a multicultural environment.
Yes.
I began to really dig into entrepreneurship. And I decided, you know what? If we're not wanted anywhere, I just create my own tribe. Okay? So my tribe, my friendships, my interactions, and you know what? Nothing is new in heaven. In God's word, it says there's safety in the multitude of counsel. I didn't know it then. But just to have people from different cultures. So I created my own tribe and my children, we all empowered each other. And we showed each other we can make it in this world, regardless of what people think of us. And military, having been military, when you're in the military, you get thrown into a melting pot.
Yes.
And sometimes it just creates a different vibe, a more accepting vibe. But here's the thing I told my children all the time. We're not going to listen to what other people say you can't be. You are created by God to be anything that you want to be. And I did tell them what they might hear. I was like, you're not half of nothing. If you have half feet, if you hear war baby, if you hear all these horrible words that people have created, I was like, you're a masterpiece. And let me tell you again, if you listen to that, you're going to be stopped in your tracks. But if you listen to what God is saying about you, you can be anything. They are now in their 40s and they have challenges. One is just a few shades darker than I am, just very light skinned. The other one is a little bit more like daddy. And they encounter their issues, in the multicultural world. But one of them is a successful real estate in luxury leasing. She is managing high rises, 6-figure income. And my other daughter, my baby daughter, is a doctor. She has her own family practice, her own clinic. She created her own clinic and has her own staff. And last year was named one of the top 100 doctors of the Atlanta region. And
Yes.
so, but they do ever so often, we have conversations where it brings up when they went outside of the tribe,
Yes.
what they had to experience. And that's a whole other story. And I am working on that with multicultural people to
100%.
write a book on that. But again, love begins with us. And love in all shades and flavors of humanity. We can go to church every Sunday and preach the word, speak the word, read the word, all of this, and then go home. And what cometh out of our mouth is divisive. It is telling people, confusing children, that some children are wondering, is there a black God? Is there a white God? Is there an Asian God?
Right.
No, we all come from the same source, but we need to do better, be better, and if we're not there yet, continue to learn.
Whew, I love it. I love it. And Angie says she love it. She love it. She says she can't wait to get your book. I saw Aaron said this is a show that was well needed. Excellent show. And this is true. I see great show. Thank you, ladies. Fantastic. And so as we begin to wrap our show, I want to thank each and every one of you. We didn't even go to commercial today, and we're not going to take a commercial today. The way we're going to wrap our show is with this. Do better, be better. And if we are not there, continue to learn. And that is a quote from Miss Cornelia Brown. So I want to know what's next for you, and how can people have you if they want you to come and be a keynote speaker at their next event, run a workshop. How can they connect with you and have you at their event?
So simple. Email me, text me, or even put my phone number there. Have a conversation with me. If you allow me to be the authentic me and allow me to speak, and I promise, unfiltered. Don't filter me, because people need to hear. There are people out there that feel exactly like that. They didn't know. They remaining in ignorance. And guys, ignorance is a choice. We are born as a clean slate, but ignorance, remaining ignorant, is a choice. And so it is very simple. All my information is in there. What's next? We are working actually on a documentary. And from Tuskegee, Alabama, Butler Chapel, me standing there, not knowing anything, to visiting this year, Dr. Lotus. This year is such an exciting year for me, because finally, February 14th, this year, the loving story has finally ended up on the Civil Rights Trail. If you guys are ever in Virginia, it's called Bowling Green, Virginia. Look it up. You can literally go to that courthouse where they have been attacked, where they, all of these different things. And I'm going there in September. I am going there. And, I want to a shout out to Miss Renee Jeter, which is part of their family. And she is allowing me to just get nuggets from the loving family. So what is next is that documentary. We're going to have a big release of it. Hopefully all of you will come. Miss Alana Bradford is whatever you call it, helping to make this happen. And so it's not going to be messy as if I would do it myself. But we are very excited. Again, we need to come together on the bridge of love, unity. And you know what? One of the things that we always say, well, you know what? I tolerate this. The mixed couples are there. I tolerate them. Tolerating does not mean accepting. So let's go from tolerating that to accepting them. And back to you. So I'm just so excited. I could talk about this for.
All right. Fantastic. And we are excited too. And by the way, you can also see the Loving, Mr. and Mrs. Loving, the full TV movie is out. You can check it out on YouTube if you're so inclined to do so. And I am happy to share some information with you on that. So you can check it out. Go right to YouTube. We'll have the information in the link below. Check out the movie and be sure to join us in September when she comes up to check it out, to be in the moment and be in the room when everyone gathers. So with no further ado, as we always do at Books to Boom Your Business, this book will help not only boom your business, but it will help boom your life. And so with no further ado, we're going to leave the last final words of wisdom from our host, Dr. Lotus Riche, passing the mic back to our guest, Miss Cornelia Brown. Please share your final words of wisdom for the show today. Go ahead.
Again, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And to all of you out there, like I just said, ignorance is a choice. So we can't help what we don't know, but we can help what we get to know, what we get to read about and study it out. And you know what? This world is a beautiful, colorful place. There's so many shades and flavors of humanity. And if you just reach out to someone that doesn't look like you, that may have an accent like I do, and just begin to immerse yourself in their experiences. And let's continue to blend cultures, sharing faith, and always talk about unity in diversity. Again, God created us all with our own unique assignments. Bye, everyone.
So until we see you again, be blessed, don't stress, don't take no mess, and always do your absolute best as you ignite and take flight in what? The Edelweiss and Collard Greens of your life. We absolutely love you, and we'll see you real soon. Grab your book, because the next show we have, we want to take questions from each and every one of you about the book and share what you learned. Okay? So until we see you, take care. Thank you for watching the show. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Ring that bell so you won't miss a thing. And we'll see you on the next episode of Books to Boom Your Business. If you want to be a guest on the show, please connect with us at lotus@lotusricheignitesyou.com. To Boom Your Business brings to you authors, speakers, entrepreneurs who have powerful books that will make and keep your business and your personal lives booming.